Hello, my name is Alvaro Zuniga, and these are my reading impressions from my reading material. We understand that English as a general language is forming the four skills, but we have a multiple syllabus approach incorporated in a methodology that hasn't been changed for the last 20 years. We also talk about the reading, and it says here we're reading for two reasons: for pleasure and for information. And perhaps because the reading material that we use in the class is based towards curriculum and the pedagogy is also based towards the curriculum, sometimes we don't get what, or we don't assume that we're teaching our students to read with information that it might not be interesting for them. So learning should not be a science, can be fun and can be reflected in the approach. Francoise Grellet in 1981. So there's a variety of things as novels, tales, plays, poems, nursery rhymes, letter, postcards, magazines, etc. But we also need to be careful. What are we showing them? Is this something of interest, like a comic strip, or is this something boring, for example, as to show statistics or things that might not be interesting for them? Traditional approach, it says that there's no dominant paradigm teaching. This is what David Noonan says. Richard Rogers in 1985, they say that reading is achieved basically by introduction of words in a simple reading text. And that's what Mike Down in show in 1993 says that it's a vehicle for introduction vocabulary. Whitwell mentions about the usage and the use, understanding that usage is the demonstration of how the student understands the linguistic and the rules, but the use is how these texts are appealing to him. Authenticity, it's another thing that is very necessary. And again, Whitney mentioned is genuineness. It's how the text is in other words, the format of the text and the authenticity, it's how we respond towards that information. The type of questions, again, Whittleston mentions that be careful not to give artificial text. And one of the things I found interesting is the D letter is the right answer in the type of questions. Sydney mentions that students should make the questions, and Gretel says that the communicative functions should be incorporated. Finally, the top-down and bottom approach basically is the deductive and deductive methodology, which can be shown, which gives us hypothesis and scheming and confirming and predicting. And finally, the active approach, which it talks about the schema theory, which is what we have and we take it into the reading, and the activities that are micro skills that we should understand. That's comprehension, inferring, and dealing, and most of these things that have. We'll try to infer what bullying is, especially what is the reading about, and then all of this before giving handouts. That would take me around 5 minutes in a 15-minute class. Second, B, use the other 5 minutes to work in the vocabulary, because we have vocabulary that is easy for school, boy, kids, etc. But expressions, for example, like we have here, say sorry, worry, teacher, feeling bad. There are some vocabulary words that might be helpful from the reading, especially those gerunds that I believe are very, very important. Then I would use the 5 more minutes in this preparation or introduction to ask them what is bullying, what do they understand as bullying, and then make some notes on the board. I think it will be important, and especially if I am trying to use again those gerunds that are back into the reading. So that will be my preparation, talking about 15 minutes before the minute 15, etc. And then I start with the development, which would be more important because then I have 5 minutes to give the handouts, as the students to open this. And of course, the first thing they're going to do once I give them this handout is to work in this vocabulary. All right, so then in letter E, that's the most important part because this is when I ask students to start working on the reading. And so I can do this by pairing, I can do this by volunteering, depending on the size of the class. I put both choices here, pairing, volunteering, that can work. But what is very important for me is to ask for prediction. What do they think they're going to read? These questions can be asked before that. Then into the work, maybe to check a specific reading, because we have three deep questions to this part, showing them check a specific information. We're going to check the comprehension later, which is the micro skills that we have, dealing with unfamiliar words, which is something that we already start doing it. and then reacting to the test. We're going to do this in the summary later. Okay. 5 more minutes. Teacher asks students to share opinions about these three questions. I like to do that because I'm open to the communicative approach, and I think Ellie mentioned that is very important to you also communicate. We have reading, but we also have to use other communicative approaches, not just reading by themselves, or not just answering questions. That wasn't part of it. That was during the syllabus. So I will ask these questions. They do that, and something that I wanted to do, use another 5 minutes, maybe less, to tell them, please order or put it in order from importance to what is more important, what is less important about these specific information. What do they feel? Because I need that use of the reading. Okay, not just the usage, but the use of the reading. So I think I want to use that part. And then I go to the final part, just to go to the true or false, or these true assessment questions, which is basically, forming the information from the book or checking information. Just to answer this, I think they will be very, very able to do this. And then finally, I would go to the conclusion, which would take me 10 minutes. The conclusion, in this conclusion, will be writing a summary. In other words, writing a small paragraph about what they think, what are the solutions, especially answer these questions.